This is the Parra podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Parramatta Leagues Club, home of the Eels, and also home of Jack's Pale Ale.
Welcome to another episode of the Parra Cave podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Parra Cave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Parra Cave podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is a Gameday preview podcast, proudly brought to you by Grips Socks. And look, it is the traditional Easter Monday clash between the West Tigers and the Parramatta Eels to be played at CommBank Stadium. Now, these two sides only played in round number 2, so 5 weeks ago the Tigers got the victory on that day, and that was Parramatta's home game. This is the Tigers' home game at CommBank Stadium, and wow, what a week it has been in Tigers history with the news about Lachie Galvin leaving the club at the end of 2026 to find a new club. Well, whether that happens or not, there is certainly some developments going on in that saga, I guess you could call it, at the West Tigers at the moment, between, I guess, the senior players at the Tigers, the coach, the CEO, I guess, managers involved in this club, or in that club, and for Lachie Galvin. Look, it is really happening now. Will this derail the Tigers, not only for this game but for the season as well? Who will know? Look, I'm not going to keep on going on about it, because I'm sure you have been seeing and hearing all commentary on this from the various podcasts and social media and also rugby league shows that have been on, because it has been the number one topic this week, that is for sure, and will probably carry on into next week as well. Lachie Galvin is not playing in this game for the Tigers. He will be playing at Lidcombe Oval for the West Magpies in the New South Wales Cup game against Parramatta, which we played at 12 p.m. And so, look, this game is going to bring in some extra little spite, isn't it? I mean, should he have played in this game? Look, if I was a West Tigers fan, I'd be saying yes, he should be playing, because he is probably the better 5'8" than... sorry, just lost my train of thought there. He is a better 5'8". Well, actually, Jerome Luai has switched back to the 5'8" position, having been playing halfback, while Lachie Galvin has been in the side. Adam Dewey goes to the halfback position, but Luai and Galvin would definitely be the strongest halves combination that the Tigers do have. So I would have played him. Sure, he would have got some Bronx cheers, some boos from the West Tigers fans, no doubt. But look, in the realms of the Tigers season, I think he should have been playing. I mean, they sit in 8th spot on the ladder at the moment. And look, it's a crucial game for both clubs. More so for Parramatta to try and get off that bottom of the ladder. Even if they do win, I think they will find themselves still on the bottom of the ladder. But it will give them confidence going into the bye and then going into Magic Round against the Sharks up there in Brisbane. But the Tigers, they are in a better position than Parramatta. They, as I said, sit in 8th position on the ladder. And it's a crucial game for them. They've shown that they can beat the Eels previously. That was with Lachie Galvin. This isn't. So crucial for their finals chances. Could you imagine if the Tigers miss out on the final, the top 8 by 2 points, and it could have been all because of this game on Easter Monday? Now, Easter Monday clashes, look, for some reason the Tigers, they seem to step up in these sort of games, don't they? They certainly have showed that in these games they sense, I don't know. It must be like a Good Friday game for Rabbitohs and Bulldogs, and it must be like an Anzac Day game for the Roosters and the Dragons. They're the sort of games that all of those clubs seem to really get up for because they're a premier event. And maybe this Easter Monday game is a game that the Eels definitely the Eels and Tigers get up for, but the Tigers seem to just, get a win more often than not in these Easter Monday games. So, look, it's going to be... Look, let's just run through some stats, first of all, between these two sides, as I love to run through the stats. And, look, we'll start off with biggest winning margins. Well, no coincidence that in 2001... the Eels beat the Tigers 66 points to 12, 54 points. That was at Leichhardt Oval. Now, probably the most famous, I guess you could say, Easter Monday clash was the opening game at CommBank Stadium, which was 51 points to 6. The Parramatta Eels got the victory on that day. That was a 45-point margin, and who could forget that Mitchell Moses pretty much length of the field. Gutho took the quick tap at the 20-metre mark, ran a little bit, got the ball to Mitchell Moses. He just aimed for that corner, and he just scored. And that picture of him scoring that try, after he scored that try, is an epic picture, which is up in CommBank Stadium somewhere, but it is an epic picture. And he scored the first try, the first goal, and the first field goal that day. So it certainly was a great day for Mitchell on that day. And let's just go through quickly some other individual records on that day. On that day, Mitchell scored 19 points in that game, the third highest points scored by an Eels or Tigers player. He also scored the second amount, 20 points, in 2021, where the Eels won 40 points to 12. Jason Taylor as well in that game. That was 166 points to 12 in 2001. Jason Taylor scored 26 points for the Tigers. Joel Kane, Sportsbet player, Sportsbet employee. You see him on the screens for Sportsbet. Gamble responsibly. And also on SEN Radio, he scored 16 points in Parramatta's win over the Tigers in 2002. Marika Korobetti, he scored 16 points, 4 tries. That was a game in 2012 out at Campbelltown where he scored 4 tries. The Tigers won 51 points to 26 on that day. I remember that game pretty clearly. Benji Marshall, the current coach of the West Tigers, has scored 14 points against Parramatta on 2 occasions, one in 2011 and 2013. Most tries scored in a match between these two sides. Well, as I just mentioned, Marika Korobetti, now Australian Rugby Union player, he scored 4 in that 51-26 demolition of Parramatta in 2012. One of my favourites, Brad Takarangi, he scored 3 tries in that 2019 win against the Tigers. It was a Tigers home game there, 30 points to 18. Nathan Galis, he scored 2 tries in that Leichhardt Oval game. What else can I find here? Nathan Highmarsh scored 2 tries against the Tigers in 2008. Jared Hayne, 2 tries as well. The list goes on for 2 tries. Micah Sevo did it on a few occasions in 2024, 2023, 2020. So he loved playing against the West Tigers and scoring tries, mostly doubles on that occasion. The goal kickers, Mitchell Moses, 8 goals in 2021, 7 in 2019. So there are a few stats there. Now, if we go to some of the more recent games between these two clubs, obviously, as I mentioned, the last game that played was 32 points to 6. The Tigers getting the win at CommBank Stadium. The previous game to that was Spoon Bowl, and that was Parramatta. Big victory in what was unknown to us at the time, us Parramatta fans. It was Gutho's and RCG's last game for the club. 60 points to 26 in that Spoon Bowl game out at Campbelltown. Last year's Easter Monday clash in front of 28,608 fans, the Tigers got the win 17 points to 16. Now, that was a Aiden Caesar field goal on that occasion, and Lachlan Galvin actually got sin bin in that game. It was his first sin binning in the top grade, and probably cost him the Rookie of the Year award, I think, in that last year, because you can't get that award being sin binned, unfortunately. 2022 was also won a field goal, and that time it was Jackson Hastings who kicked the field goal for the Tigers on that occasion. So a 1-point victory to them on that occasion. There was a 1-point victory to the Parramatta Eels in 2017. This was round 20. Corey Norman kicked the field goal on that occasion. That game was played in front of 30,000 fans. That was at ANZ Stadium, as it was called then back in the day. Parramatta obviously playing out of that stadium. What else have we got here? 2014, which I think probably would have been the biggest crowd that these two clubs have played in front of at the time, and still to this day. That game was also played at ANZ Stadium. That was a Easter Monday game as well. I remember that one quite well. Jared Haynes scored 2 tries. You thought Parramatta were going to go on with the victory, but the Tigers came back, and I'm pretty sure I remember the Pat Richards try. I think it was like a chip and chase sort of try in the corner, I think, by memory. I'm not 100% sure on that one. So if you can remind me on that one, or please don't remind me. Tigers fans probably will, but that's okay. I think he scored a try in the corner. Might not have even been a little chip. It might have just been a sort of little kick over the top and scored in the corner. But he scored a try and kicked 4 from 4. So there's just a few of the games that have been played between these two clubs. There's been many other games. The first time they even played back in 2000, it was a 14-all draw. That game was at Leichhardt Oval. We go to players that have played for both clubs. Look, there's been a few over the years. Michael Butner had a couple of stints at Parramatta and also one at the West Tigers. Jason Kalis as well, played for the Roosters as well. Isaac de Gois finished off his career, I think, at Parramatta and is currently working at Parramatta in the pathway system, I think. Brett Hodgson as well, played in the 2001 Grand Final and also won a premiership with the Tigers in 2005. He played more games for the Tigers against Parramatta than he did Parramatta against the West Tigers. Also, there is Ryan Madison as well. That was an interesting one. Certainly got some boos when he was playing for the Tigers, I remember, from Parramatta fans. Not playing in this game on the weekend. Jason Moody as well, played in the 2001 Grand Final. John Morris, amongst his other clubs, probably the most famous one, who will be playing and is making his return back from injury, which is a saviour, I guess, for Parramatta fans anyway. They cannot have waited much longer for this return, but Mitchell Moses as well. That was a famous mid-season transfer in 2017. Wade McKinnon, Joe Offahengawi, the recently departed front rower from Parramatta, who had been granted an immediate release to go and join the Lee Leopards over in the English Super League. So we wish Joe and his family all the best over there in England. A 3.5-year contract over there. We wish him all the best over there, and thank you very much for playing in the blue and gold. Isaiah Papali'i, who is playing for the Panthers these days, played for the Warriors first, came to Parramatta, and then signed with the West Tigers. Didn't have as happy time at the Tigers as he did at the Parramatta Eels, but is now on at the Panthers. Scored a try against the Roosters just this weekend as well. Corey Pearson, Joel Reddy, Pat Richards as well. Started off at Parramatta and then went over to the went to the West Tigers, then went to England, came back for the West Tigers. So great players there. Kelma Tulagi, who's also playing in this game, played 2 games against Parramatta and has played 2 games for Parramatta against the West Tigers. Big Stefano Utokamanu, who is now at the Melbourne Storm. He played the 1 game against the Tigers and also played 6 games for the Tigers against Parramatta. And Penrith boy, Troy Wozniak, who I'm trying to get on the podcast for a chat, so hopefully we can get that across the line. Also played for Parramatta and the West Tigers. So there are a few of the players that have played for both clubs. Now, if we go to the team list for this game, and we'll start with the home side. Well, is it the home side? I don't know. They are just the home side for this game. They will be playing a couple of games, I guess, out at CommBank. But, to Parramatta fans, it's Parramatta's home ground and always will be. So, look, it's a interesting debate, isn't it? I guess the news during the week as well, I think it was last week as well, without this Lachlan Galvin drama, was the fact that Shane Richardson, CEO of the Tigers, said that they don't want to play, or he will not let the Tigers play at Campbelltown if it's not upgraded, if the facilities aren't better out there, and that would probably mean that more games are played at CommBank. So don't blame him. CommBank is the best rectangular stadium in Australia. So Brent Naden comes in, Adam Dewey moves to halfback. Who else we got for the Tigers? That's probably about it for them. So pretty consistent side for them that we have seen over the last few weeks. Obviously, the big talking point, as I mentioned before, was Lachlan Galvin not playing for them. Jarrell Skelton is also injured as well, their big winger that they got from the Bulldogs. Let's go to the Parramatta lineup, and look, it is the same back line, only one change, and as I mentioned, it is the return of Mitchell Moses. Now, the captain, or he will captain the Parramatta Eels in this game for the first time, and look, this is great news for Parramatta fans. This will give the team confidence that their captain is back on the field. Now, one thing I also think will happen as well, it will give Dylan Brown, it will release a bit of pressure from Dylan Brown having Mitchell Moses back, and I actually think that it will improve his game, and I'm expecting a big game from Dylan Brown. Now, we have expected a big game from Dylan Brown for the first 6 weeks of the competition. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. We have seen glimpses of him he scored a try last week against Canberra from his running game, so we have seen a little bit, but we have not seen as what we have wanted to see from Dylan Brown. But now that Mitchell Moses is back, I think you will find that we will see him have a massive game, just because, as I said, that pressure of being the main man will not be there. Jack Williams, he returns back from injury as well, a knee injury. He goes into the front row, replacing Joe Ofahengawi as well. So great to see Jack back as well. Riley Smith has been named at 9 now. Hopefully he starts the game and look, probably finishes the game. Maybe see if he can get a 80-minute performance. We'll just have to wait and see. The last few weeks, Jermaine Hopgood has started in the hooking position, and Riley has gone back to the bench. And I actually forget who has started on the bench. I think Ryan Madison has, come into the side. So, Charlie Geimer, who's not in this side this week, has come into the starting side. So hopefully we see Riley Smith start the game and potentially play the whole game. That little battle against Api Coruscant will be a good one there. Junior Paolo as well, the captaincy, he's an on-field leader and part of that leadership group. Kelma Tulagi, as I mentioned before, he comes into the side for Sean Lane. Now, we wish Sean all the best. He's taking a break from rugby league at the moment. So he's in a bit of a sort of a headspace trying to work out, I guess, what is best for him mentally. So we wish him all the best with whatever decision he makes, and look, just take the time that you need to sort out whatever the decision is. But it's certainly a pretty mental game, rugby league, and obviously has been playing on Sean's mind for a while. A few disappointing performances, I guess, from his standards as well, and from fan standards. So, look, he is taking a break from the game, not playing New South Wales Cup either, so we wish him all the best in his break, and let's just hope mentally he can get it right. And look, we may see him back in first grade later on in the year. Not definite, but we might see him back playing football. Matt Dury and Sam Tuivati come back into the side. Ryan Madison is the 18th man, and Joash Papali is the 19th man, coached by Jason Riles. The referee for this game is Liam Kennedy. Now, look, I think this is actually probably the strongest side that Parramatta could probably have, with the exception of Zach Lomax. Obviously, he's got to come back into the side. He's got a foot injury at the moment. But I probably couldn't see many more players forcing their way into this side. I think this would probably be the strongest side, bar Zach Lomax, that Parramatta could field. Look, there's calls for Ryan Madison to be included in this side, Joash Papali as well. If you have a look at Parramatta's New South Wales Cup team that is playing the Western Suburbs Magpies, as I said, at 12 p.m. at Lidcombe Oval, there are a few players that could force their way into that side. We haven't seen Bryce Cartwright this year. Dan Keir has played, I think, one game for Parramatta. Wiramu Greg he's on the interchange bench. He has played first grade before. Brendan Hands, Dean Hawkins has obviously been in there whilst Mitchell Moses has been out. Ronald Volkman started the season with a few games in first grade. Hayes Dunster has played first grade before. Jordan Samrani as well. We have seen, I would like to see him get some game time as well. But other than that, obviously Joash Papali as well. But other than that, that is probably the strongest Parramatta side they could probably name. Chuck in Zach Lomax when he comes back from injury as well. So a pretty good Parramatta looking side. Look, the Tigers have got the confidence at the moment. I guess with the win against the Newcastle Knights last week, Parramatta unfortunately getting flogged by the Raiders 50 points to 12, having their first win the week before against the Dragons. So they're back on familiar territory in CommBank. So look, it'll be a interesting season, an interesting game, that is for sure. Just how much of this Lachlan Galvin drama is going to take out of the West Tigers, or will it, funnily enough, galvanise them, and will they step it up against Parramatta? But I do think the return of Mitchell Moses, that's a massive boost for Parramatta. Look, if you look at the points scored, the Tigers have nearly scored double the amount of points as Parramatta, and Parramatta have let in pretty much nearly double the amount of points that the Tigers have. So defence is going to be a really key thing, as it is in any game, that is for sure. And for Parramatta, their problems have been in the middle defence. So hopefully with Jack Williams back, they can tighten that up, and it will be a lot better with him there. We know how much of a good defender he is. So with him back in the side, hopefully that will strengthen that up as well. Riley Smith, we know what he tackles like. He just tackles everything that moves pretty much, and his kick chase pressure is awesome as well. We saw in the game against Canberra up in the Northern Territory, I think, in my opinion, as I probably mentioned in the match review, I thought Parramatta's on-goal defence was okay. Still was not perfect, but it was okay. It did let in a try early on in the game to Tarpany, I think it was, but our kick chase defence and our broken field defence was all over the shop. So if we can definitely improve that, go a long way to winning the game, that is for sure. Last time they played, as I mentioned, was 32 points to 6. The time before that was 60 points to 26. So Easter Monday, the crowd, what am I predicting? Well, look, I'm expecting it to be a big crowd. I think there could be 20,000 plus there at CommBank Stadium. And I think, look, obviously being a Tigers home game, the majority will be Tigers fans. But I'm predicting a fair few Parramatta fans there as well, being played at Parramatta, even though it is a home game. So they will be loud, they will be proud, no doubt. And look, key matchups, well, as I mentioned before, there's the hooking matchup, Appy Coruscant up against Riley Smith. That'll be an interesting one there. The halves battle, Dylan Brown, Mitchell Moses, Jerome Luai, Adam Dewey. On paper, you would probably have to say the Parramatta halves are a better combination at the moment. But we all know what Jerome Luai has done in the past at Penrith. Adam Dewey, suggestions are he is a better centre than he is a half. So playing him in a position he hasn't played, I guess, a lot of. So on paper, you would have to say that the Parramatta halves are a better combination. And the other one I'm looking forward to seeing as well is Jareem Buller up against Isaiah Iongi as well, the two young guns for the Eels and Tigers. They are young, inexperienced players. Jareem Buller having, I think it was last year was his debut year. I think I could be wrong. Please correct me if I am. Isaiah Iongi has played, I think, 8 games now. I think 7 games. 1 for Penrith and 6 so far for Parramatta. And some of those games have been man of the match performances. Some of those games he's made mistakes, but that's okay. He's only learning. It's only the start of his career. Bailey Simonson came back from injury last week against Canberra, and he played a man of the match performance. So another game under his belt last week that will do him the world of good as well. My predictions for this game. Look, I said on the Talking Parra podcast, which you can catch 8:15 p.m. on Facebook, the live show, and the replay podcast is available on Spotify. But I did say 40 points to 20. Parramatta will win. I don't know what's going to happen. I just think they're going to explode and score some points with Mitchell back. His kicking game will definitely improve the Parramatta side, which will be good. And as I said, Dylan Brown, I think he'll have a big game with Mitchell being back as well. So we may see a bit more running from him as well, which we have seen over the first 6 weeks. But I think we will see more of it on Easter Monday. And look, I think for the entire Parramatta side, look, this will give them confidence going into the bye. As we know, they get 2 points for the bye, so it's effectively a 4-point game for the Eels, which is pretty important. But I'm expecting a big game from him. What else am I expecting? I'm saying Josh Addo-Carr will be the first try scorer in this game. Looking forward to seeing him up against Taruva as well. And looking forward to seeing him possibly getting into some open space and just seeing how fast he really is. And I also said that Mitchell Moses, my bold prediction for the game will be Mitchell Moses 2 40-20 kicks. I don't know how accurate that'll be, but look, if he gets one, that'll be good enough for me. But I did say 2, so if he does get 2, that could be 2 turning points in the game, that is for sure. Look, I will be out there at CommBank Stadium for this game. Come and say good day if you see me out and about. Previous to that, I will be at the Riverside Brewing Company in North Parramatta with the Talking Parra podcast team. They are putting on an event there, an all-ages event there. There is a lucky door prize of a signed Parramatta Eels jersey. There is free food there as well. I believe pizzas, which is one of my favourite foods ever, so looking forward to that. But come and join us. Come and say good day. That is the Talking Parra podcast. Give them a follow as well. And as I mentioned, you can be able to see me and the rest of the lads on 8:15 on Facebook, on the Talking Parra Facebook page, so give them a follow as well. And maybe see you at the event 12 p.m. till 3 p.m. I believe it is, and then we will march down to CommBank Stadium, the Parra Eels march down there, so that'll be great. But thank you for listening to this Game Day preview podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it. Look, Easter week has been a little bit of a messy week. I haven't been putting out as much content this week. I can assure you maybe next week will be a little bit mixed up as well, but I will try and get back on track, that is for sure. With this game being on a Monday, the game review will be, I guess, out on a Tuesday night, I guess. We'll see what we can do anyway. There will be an NRL review as well. So it may just be all a day behind. We'll just wait and see. But thank you very much. Just keep your eyes on the social media channels. Get your Parra friends, fans to follow the Parra podcast on Instagram. I really appreciate the support, and keep your eye on that for what is coming up. Anyway, that is me done for this Game Day preview. And as I always say, the Parra podcast, by the fan, for the fans. Go Parra!
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Parra Podcast. See you next time.